Hey BookTube, I hope you like bad lighting. I didn't expect to make a video, but I figured I might as well just make this video. I've been wanting to do it for a while because I saw a new person that I just started following. Jeremy Fee did this original video of all of his most read authors, and this guy's, he's read the whole library. It was really great to see. I mean, I've never seen a video like that. I was just super interested in what he had to say, but also, what a great idea. So I am going to tag all of you. Seriously, I'm gonna start, calling people out because I just want to know what everyone's read now, And I feel like I'm the guy to start, bugging people about it because it could be a point of self-consciousness, if that's the right word. If you haven't read a lot or haven't read as much as the next guy. I haven't read as much as any of you. In fact, most of these authors are just authors that I've read 2 books by, because that frankly will set them apart, especially the authors that I've recorded on Goodreads. And there's only a couple of authors, literally, who I've read an entire series by. So those will just stand out like sore thumbs. Regardless, Isaac Asimov, I read Foundation and Empire and I, Robot. I did do a review of Foundation and Empire, but it kind of blew. It's not a good review. And I read I, Robot, a long time ago when I was in high school, but I enjoyed it an awful lot. It just stuck in my mind, It was essentially a mystery novel with 8 stories in there where someone who was, a robotics engineer or whatever their job was, it wasn't detective, but they were trying to figure out what's going on with these robots. Frank Herbert, I read Dune and Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert, also when I was in high school. Weird. And I don't remember much of it. It was just a lot of words. I looked over, just looking at words. J.G. Ballard. Now this guy I think he's becoming like my favorite in this weird way, because I don't like the way that he writes. The way that he writes, it just seems so blunt, like he's stabbing at it, trying to just get the story on the paper without properly dressing it. But yeesh, the things that he writes just rub me the exact right way. I have Kingdom Come that I'm finna read after I kind of go through some other stuff. I have freaking Demian I'm just gonna crack into right now, but whatever, BookTube TBRs, they be going on forever. Next on the list is Camus, Albert Camus. I read The Stranger and The Plague. I did a review on The Stranger when I read it. I don't know what it is about Camus, but he's so dang boring. I mean, before he started making these novels, he was a playwright and he was a newspaper reporter. The Plague really does read like it's a freaking newspaper with just pieces of a stage play tacked on. And the difference between the two is just as jarring as if it were 2 separate pieces of paper, taped one on top of the other. I say stage play-like because he doesn't add too many descriptors as how people feel about the conversation they have. He doesn't add so-and-so says something, enter adverb here. Super dry, and I didn't get anything out of The Plague like I got out of The Stranger. I know the homie liked it. He just read it too. Dane Cobain just read The Plague as well. So I'm gonna say we buddy read it. Okay, but he read it in a day, I read it in a week. Regardless, I'm gonna need him to tell me why it's good, because I'm ready to give it, a failing grade. Anyway, I read 2 Camus and I think I'm done. Okay, next we got Stephen the King. I read Misery and On Writing. I read On Writing first, and that was, it's just a book, I thought it was fun, whatever. But Misery was, to this day, I think, the only book that I literally couldn't stop reading. I seriously just couldn't put that freaking book down. That first scene where Kathy Bates is talking over him and freaking James Caan is drifting in and out of consciousness, and he's describing the taste of her breath. I tasted that when I read it, yo. Never read anything like that since, even. I just picked up from the good old library. They had them for cheap. I got The Dead Zone and 11/22/63. Next, we have George R.R. Martin. I read his first two Game of Thrones. I mean, not his first two, but the first two in the Song of Ice and Fire series, Game of Thrones and The Clash of Kings. It was cool. You know, I did a whole video on that, so you can see that. And now, of course, you know, J.K. Rowling, I read the first two of her books. I think they were her first two books. Anyway, I read the Harry Potter, Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets. Okay, no, those are all the books I've read. Authors I read 2 books by. There's one author that I've read 3 books by, and that's Ian Fleming. I read Octopussy and the Living Daylights, which is a collection of shorts. And I read For Your Eyes Only, which is a collection of shorts. And I read
Diamonds Are Forever,
which is a full-on novel. Oh, I forgot to put in a freaking, oh gosh, what's his name? He's The Godfather. Mario Puzo. I read The Godfather and I read The Sicilian. Way back in the day, I read The Sicilian. I thought it was cool, but I didn't really understand it when I read it, because I think I didn't know anything about like mobs. I didn't know anything about sub-communication, so a lot of stuff just kind of went over my head. You know, another one of those books I just scanned through. Anyway, that's also there. I read The Sicilian, and I want to read Fools Die. That sounds really cool. It's like Vegas, Hollywood, corruption stuff. That's, you know what I mean. That's my whole jam. So here we go. Complete series is 8 by Emily Rhoda, Del Toro Quest. You know, when I was knee-high to a sandmouse, I read that whole series when I was in elementary school. And 13, like middle high school-ish, I was reading Lemony Snicket's series of unfortunate events. That whole thing up and down. Oh boy, there's actually another book that I read 3 books by. I think his name is Rand. Not Ayn Rand, it's another Rand. The guy from Mist. I read all the Mist books. I read the entire Mist series. How could I forget? Because that probably inspired me more than Lemony Snicket. Because I mean, thanks to freaking Lemony Snicket, that's when I started to like carry notebooks all around and stuff and be like a somewhat astute, adjacent human being. But like, thanks to Mist, that's why I learned calligraphy. You ever played Mist, where you just like have to like, you're dropped in a world and you have to figure out how it works, essentially put it back together? That's an excellent game. It's still very playable. Yeah, that's my entire list. So you shouldn't be, self-conscious about how many books you've read, because come on. My channel isn't even like a book tube where I can like read arcs and like give opinions. I'm not well read enough to really give a proper opinion. You know what I mean? Like, this is more of like a reaction channel, you know? So I'm just gonna tag you and I just want this thing to fly. I'm really interested to hear all the stuff you have to say, everybody. So let's tag, I'm pretty much gonna tag other people that just are in my comments and stuff, like Noah, everyone who reads it, let's converse. Yeah, I really wanna know who your most read author is. Because I don't know, I mean, that might not say too much about the author itself, you know? It could just be that someone that you really like has read more has written more than an author that you would prefer over. Anyway, so Leslie, also, The Nerdy Narrative, you should do it because you should do it. Andrew J, is that your last initial, right? Get right on in. I summon you. Timmy at Lost Cunningham, I have a feeling that he's probably watching but just lurking and not commenting, but I'm gonna call out Lost Cunningham. And if you're watching this and just lurking, just type it in the comments. You know, was who your most read author is. I want to know. You know what I mean? Erica, Clean Read Mom. I mean, all these people read totally different stuff than what I read. So I want to know. But Erica is like the only other person that I know who reads like self-help books and, you know, other like nonfiction stuff, which can be such a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Because any joker can freaking read a book. You feel me? So, I mean, write a book. Not everyone can read a book, but anyone can write a book. I don't know her name, but I know her. Reading in Retail. You too. What are you reading? J Maddux Yes, I know you read a bunch. Dane Cobain, that's gonna be a long one, because Dane is the kind of cat to exhaust an author's entire catalog. So that's totally gonna be like, who is the most freaking prolific author? That's the real question I'm asking Dane. Yasmin, as to the Lithouse, again, like Noah, Yasmin does the philosophy thing, which is great, but I really don't have a stomach for it. But I wondered, do you read more philosophy or Uptown horror reviews? I don't care that you don't do tags. Do it. Dina, books yada yada. If you don't know about Dina, she's also the type to exhaust a library, you know what I mean? So Dina, that's one. Mindy at Mindy's book journey, because she hops on. So yeah, you're up, Mindy. Marco at Chasing Epiphanies. He doesn't do this booktube thing so often, but I'm gonna summon him from his slumber because I want a Chasing Epiphanies video. You should know this, Marco. Dirty American, I do things for me.
You know this.
Josh pops in, Working Man Reads every now and again. So Josh, you're up. And Spinks for Integrity. I don't know his first name. I should have checked, but it's this whole dang family. So that would be cool, actually. If you can have your whole family, like what are you guys' most read authors? Because you guys are the only ones that I've seen who read like hood stories. You all had Quan. You've done the whole Donald Gowan's Kenyatta series. So I really want to know what y'all have read. So that would be dope. Yeah, and that's it. This is a cool little thing. I hope it spreads like a disease or a virus or another unpleasant thing. All right.